the Healing Place provides a wide variety of services. We have a traditional Healing Place program that is a peer-driven recovery program, long-term. And when we talk about long-term at the Healing Place, we're talking about several months, generally 6, 8, 10 months for people, men and women. That's a residential program. We also have detox services, an overnight shelter, transitional living services. Our program has free health care services for our clients. We also have an outpatient division that offers individual and group counseling, intensive outpatient counseling, again, transitional living. So we try to offer the full range of services to someone seeking help for addiction treatment. All three campuses, we have almost 1,000 beds. We have over 400 beds in Louisville for men. We have 250 beds in Louisville for women and 100 beds in Campbellsville, Kentucky for men.
So when a person comes into our doors, there is a client there to greet them and also to radio in to Detox and let staff know that there's a potential client. The client is sitting out in the chair and the staff member will come out and basically, because of the COVID-19, do a COVID-19 screening and take that client's temperature and ask all the necessary questions to make sure that client is appropriate for our detox. So once that client is deemed appropriate, we bring them immediately into detox, where we start a basic intake process, which they will ask them questions and stuff about their addiction and whether it's a drug of choice, and they will go through all the paperwork. And that client will basically have an opportunity to get something to eat. We do mandatory showers at the women's campus. We have tubs, and they take a bath, they get their scrubs on, and they start their process of detoxing. Sometimes we do have circumstances when a client is not able to do any of those things. We're going to COVID screen them and put them right into a bed because they may be too intoxicated or their withdrawal symptoms might be too severe to even withstand a bath or a shower. And definitely they cannot endure an intake process. We want them to be lucid enough to understand the paperwork which they're signing and the stuff that we're going over about the protocol and the things that go along with what we do. So that's basically how they enter into our detox. Well, detoxes vary because the drug of choices vary. So normally, minimum detox is 72 hours because sometimes people come because they're not in physical withdrawals, but detox is for the mind, body, and the spirit. A detox process to me is necessary just for a person to take a minute to reevaluate some things, to sit back and reflect on going forward. So like the people that's not really physically withdrawn, it's still 72 hours. But sometimes we have situations when people is coming off a little harder things like Suboxone, the heroin, they might be in psychosis from the methamphetamine. They may just be tired and they may be coming off of their psych meds so that they can enter our program. So it can be anywhere between 3 days and maybe I've had one person stay 30. So it's just case by case basically, and I check in with them and make sure that they're okay. I check their process throughout the day, that staff takes their vitals and basically give them like an option whether or not they want to go to class and stuff like that. They basically like triage the client on each shift. So I go back through their paperwork and see how their process is going, and then I call them up to the desk and see what they want to do moving forward. So most of the time I can just look at the client and tell whether or not that client is okay by just, I can tell because I'm them. So that's how that really works as far as their discharge. I would really want somebody to understand that just because it's a non-medical model doesn't mean that you can't endure it. You won't get through it, because it's been revealed time and time again that no matter what you're coming off of, there's always an option for the non-medical model. We see people come in and recover and they do well and they go on into the program and they're okay. And they remember the pain of that withdrawal symptom in detox, and that sustains them even more. And a lot of people shy away from that because we don't give anything for withdrawal symptoms and stuff like that. But we make you comfortable. We give you all the tools necessary to work with to get through it. And we also help you, in any way we possibly can, throughout that process. So I just want people to not shy away from the non-medical detox and know that you can get through it no matter what. And to me, I think that's vital because a lot of people are scared to face a little pain. And like I always heard, no pain, no gain. So the end product is priceless, and it's so worth it. And I just want anybody to come in and be encouraged that they can get through it no matter what.
When they leave detox, the first part of the program or phase that they go to is called a place called Safe Haven. And the reason why we started Safe Haven was because, a few years back during the opioid epidemic, the overdoses and the detoxes were not only a minimum of 5 days, they were actually could be up to 7 to 10. And we felt like it was appropriate to keep clients on property during this early phase. So we came up with Safe Haven. So the clients are going to classes, attending meetings, but they're all doing that on property. Once they've been in the Safe Haven process, then they transition to the OTS 1 phase of the program. This is the motivational track. Basically what we ask clients to do is to attend meetings, and we give them each a meeting sheet. And the idea in how an individual, a client, moves forward is based on the meeting sheet, what they're given, and how many meetings they're attending. So there's a lot of emphasis on motivation because everybody goes to the Monday through Friday classes. But with the exception of a couple of mandatory meetings off property in the evenings and during the weekend, it's on the client to go attend as many meetings as possible to show their motivation through the program. So while they're in the OTS 1 phase, this is exactly what they're doing. And then they transition to what we call the preparation for phase in the OTS 2 portion of the program. When they're in OTS 2, their responsibilities have increased, their privileges increase, and everything is a gradual increase. When they're in OTS 2, they get a small job assignment. And the design of OTS 2 is not only to go to meetings, but to travel each day with a phase client. So we're already bridging the gap as far as the introduction to phase, and have them walk to outside meetings together. That way the OTS 2 client can get more involved in the 12-step recovery community and obtain a sponsor and work and begin to work the steps and work part of the steps. Once this process is complete, then our clients enter into the phase, which is the main part of the program. In phase, our clients work steps 4 through 12 of our Sober 180 curriculum. And I forgot to add that in OTS 1 and OTS 2, our clients work steps 1 through 3 through our Sober 180 curriculum. In phase, once they start that, our residents start in the kitchen and they work and their responsibilities increase and they have job assignments. They are also part of what's called a therapeutic community that meets 3 times a week. During this process, they are working their steps, they are completing tasks and jobs, and they are holding each other accountable. And they are doing the one thing, and we are treating the one thing that they probably have never looked at, and that's themselves. We believe in treating the person, not the drug. Alcohol and drugs is just a symptom of the problem that is self. So this is what they're doing. They're going to meetings, they're going to community, they're working, and they're learning how to live life on life terms in a very condensed environment when it comes to a safe environment, and learning how to practice dealing with anger, fear, acceptance, and guilt in a very safe way, and learning hopefully from their mistakes. The community is the central core group of the healing place. This is where clients get together. They get together every Wednesday and elect supervisors for job positions, which allows them to put other clients and other residents in positions that they may not be so comfortable with. It's not always who can do the best job, but who might actually grow from the job. And I can give you an example. If someone has a problem with confrontation, they might be great for a supervisory position that requires confrontation. So even though they may struggle in the supervisory position, they are allowed to work on their character defects and grow from it and become better in that. So it's pretty much practice. So in the therapeutic community process, everyone has issues, and what they do is they'll claim issues, maybe hypothetically from being late, late to a job, late to a meeting. There's all kinds of issues that clients will raise their hand and hold themselves accountable for. And then once the question and answer process of what's going on with that particular person happens, then we go to the board. And then in an original board, there are two numbers. There's number 1 is to do nothing, and there's number 2 is to leave the program, go back to detox, leave property. And those are two extremes. Those are the leave the program, leave the building, or do nothing. And then numbers 3, 4, 5, and possibly even 6 are suggestions given by the clients to work on themselves and their character defects. So there's something in the middle of this. Again, an example would be someone that, say, really had a hard time saying no. They may be addressed and put on a suggestion like, you can say yes to somebody, but if you do, you have to write 500 words on why you say yes. And that gives them the choice to people please. Now that doesn't mean that we don't discourage helping others, because that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about an individual that just cannot, he always says no. And so those are just examples of community guidelines and things that they put in position for them to grow, to put them in the position as far as words, dealing with anger, dealing with acceptance, dealing with things, again, treating the person, which is the most effective way it's practiced, learning how to deal with all these things instead of the drug. The therapeutic value of one alcoholic helping another, one addict helping another, is just beyond parallel. And so with the peer-driven social model, the person that just completed the program can be giving back to someone that just entered the program. Yes, they don't have letters behind their names. Yes, they don't have that, but they have that actual experience of I've been there. And they're able to gain the trust like no other. So when someone's coming in, and all of our residents are coming in a lot of pain, who else better to work with them and listen to them and understand them as someone that has just recently gone through that pain? And that is the most effective method of recovery, in my opinion. The Healing Place program is not just about someone stopping drinking or drugging. This is about learning how to live life. The Healing Place, and even in phase, individuals are able to go to life skills classes and preparing for the transition phase. They may go obtain their GED. There's a focus on starting to learn how to get a job once they get into the transition phase. There are so many aspects that the Healing Place allows and permits for residents to do that not only get sober, but the focus is staying sober. Anybody can quit, but then staying quit is another thing. So all of these factors are in play. So not only will the clients have an opportunity to get sober, work a recovery program, and get the initial phase going, they'll be aided with job and learning learning how to work and deal with life on life terms, and maybe even some educational avenues as far as that go. Also, there's opportunities with Family Day with a focus on Al-Anon and other fellowships. And the goal is to bring this not only to themselves but to their family, because we found that when the family is on board, the success rate definitely increases for the particular client. So the Healing Place does a lot more than just help someone learn how to not drink and drug. They attack every aspect and help every aspect of that process.
So transitional care at one point was referred to as phase 2 and provided housing and transitional services only to men and women completing the Healing Place program. Seeing the need in our community for other options and for other levels of support, we now actually house several types of clients. There are 2 60-day programs in which our clients are housed in our building while they're receiving outpatient services. And when they complete those programs, they have the option for transitional living on our property and can stay here for up to 6 months. While in that level of care, we provide employment support and medical support and further housing options when they leave us, because what we find is that though a client may stay here for 6 months, they still need support and help in their next level and their next stop on their journey. So we provide housing options for those people as well. I know for me personally speaking, treatment and learning how to stay sober was just the first part of my journey. And as it is with most of our clients, when they complete treatment, many of them don't have many resources in terms of housing, in terms of stable and sober support. So transitional living to me is one of the keys, especially in early recovery, to being successful. Because for instance, for myself personally speaking, I didn't have any rental history anywhere. My credit was terrible. Just getting employed was brand new for me. I hadn't worked in quite some time. And our transitional services department provides support in all those areas to make sure that the end of treatment for someone is not the end of their process. It's just the beginning of their process in terms of learning how to live life on life's terms sober and learning how to do things like budget and pay bills on time, and learning how to fill out resumes, and learning the proper process in applying for jobs. And we provide the safe environment and support for them while they're doing those things. So we definitely provide documentation and paperwork for those folks. Another way that transitional living is helpful for that population is that when the court system sees someone who's actively participating in their treatment and seeking out healthy choices in terms of not only treatment, but where to live next, and sees them making a choice to live in a stable and sober and structured environment, they seem to be much more willing to give that client a chance and to delay the charges, which is helpful for the client. And it also helps them be in a safe place while that process is going on. We do provide documentation for them if they need it for court. We provide legal aid for them also, and we support them through that process the best we can. What I would like them to know, and what I would say to clients, is that you don't have to figure all this out yourself, and that we are here to support you after you're finished with the treatment part of your program. Because just learning how to stay sober, at least in my experience, was challenging enough without having to figure out where to go put a job application in. And it was so easy for me to get overwhelmed. And the support we provide and the guidance that we can provide to our transitional care clients was crucial to me in my early recovery, because I just didn't know where to start. For me, the wreckage was so extensive that I didn't know which fire to put out first. And a lot of those fires are housing, employment, legal issues, medical issues, family issues. And what I would want the client to know is that one day at a time, we can help you through those things, that you don't have to figure it out yourself. Because I know for me, the danger in figuring things out myself was that I generally made things worse. And the awesome thing about the staff here and the staff in transitional care is that we do have experience in recovery. And sometimes we can help people sidestep the train wreck before it happens.